and it also circulates the dollars locally, which is something that for our economics is something that we strongly believe in. Actually, research shows that spending money locally circulates the money about twice, at least. And there's some of the issues that it has some value with reducing fuel costs because we're working on a lot of projects to grow food locally, and it's not trucked so far. Got a long ways to go, but we're also working with the Willits Action Group, which is sort of a project of community action, and I work closely with Cindy Logan on this, and we are about to be funded by the California Endowment, or at least it's just about through the process. They're taking it to their committee for approval, so we'll know real soon if that approval is granted, but they're leaning in that direction, to develop a local food distribution network. And this is kind of a huge project. It's a very interesting project. And the idea is to keep as much of our local food local as possible, to grow more farmers and have more opportunities for people to grow food, to connect the buyers and the sellers together. And as we know, we have lots of small farmers around here that can't often fill like maybe the school district's needs, but together they can, and so we're trying to develop a system that will help us bring those together into a way that can get to where they need to go. We're looking at how do we develop a distribution system, and we're first looking at what is already, running around the county, and we're starting to look at, well, there's food bank trucks. The Coast Food Bank truck drives to Covelo several times a day. Are there ways that we could put together, maybe they could pick up some veggies from Covelo, which many are grown, and get them to some of the other distribution points. We're looking at possibly using the Grange in Willits as a location for that, and also developing a kitchen that could be used for people to process some of their goods. And so this is a project that we really hope we can get some support with and help us see how it goes. There's many people interested in it. I've done projects like worked with the Anderson Valley Foodshed Group to develop the food guide, and many projects like that. So we also are doing a community garden network project that is run by Miles Gordon, and he's actually working with many community gardens and school gardens throughout the county. He's connecting Head Start centers, low-income people to these gardens. The amount of interest out there in community gardens is huge. He's going to some of the low-income housing places, and people are very excited. They're starting gardens there. He's working at MCOE with a group of students to develop a market garden. He's been to the senior housing talking about gardens, and people are interested. So we're really happy about that. And one of our newer projects is the Rebuild Store, which is a project located in Ukiah, and the goal of the store is to keep some of our waste out of the landfill and to recycle as many goods as possible. We deal primarily in building materials right now, and a lot of those come from contractors, a lot come from people that are remodeling their houses, and our ultimate goal is to really flesh out this project, build it. We see opportunities for job training there. There could be repair, refinishing, many things like that. And so it's our hope to keep fleshing some of these things out. So some of the opportunities that we see that we could partner on is actually the Rebuild location right now is a great building, but ideally I think it would be best to be co-located with the transfer stations, because there's also a whole lot of items that go into the landfill, and if we had the place right there, people would be able to drop it off, they wouldn't have to pay for it, and if we couldn't accept it, they could go ahead and take it to the landfill. We see it as a great partnership, partly because we can also, as a nonprofit, offer people a tax deduction for their donations. And that's often a reason people would like to give their old cabinets or things to us. We see that we could partner on, policies that support local farmers and food, and certainly any assistance you could give us on this food distribution center, just even in emotional support would be very helpful. And I think considering walkability issues in development, partly there is some real truth to people being able to walk to places and to get to services that we need, and we really would like to promote that. And I think that there's also some room for us to really work on some green collar jobs programs in this community. We have lots and lots of solar and alternative energy, and we need to continue to work together to make some of that happen. And I think Mendocino County is prime for being a major example in a lot of this work. So I would like to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions of anybody, we'd be happy to answer them.
From the board, Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Patty, looking at the delineation of your projects, I think they look great. Maybe you could give us an overview of what of these activities can you highlight some that have happened on the Mendocino coast?
On the Mendocino coast, we did a lot of the JobNet kinds of services. JobNet was a project that we did with County Social Services to provide some extra support to people that were going back to work on welfare. It was a mentoring program. We did many of those activities over there, and that was the past. We are working with some of the community gardens over on the coast and working with the Noyo Food Forest and connecting the Head Start families to some of those garden opportunities. So that's we're working with many of the groups over there on the local food distribution. Many of the restaurants on the coast are very interested in having local food in their restaurants, and the school districts over there. So those are some of the examples that we're working on right now.
When you mentioned before that one of your employees had worked with or polled or visited the senior housing complexes, have you done that on the coast?
He hasn't done it on the coast yet, but it is on his schedule to do. And if you ever see Miles, he has some wonderful stories to tell about his relationships with the people that he's talked with.
Because there are the housing complexes on the coast for seniors.
Right, and his project is countywide, and he is
Good.
working with people, and in fact, I think he's going to over there this Thursday to support some of the community garden projects in the schools.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Colfax.
I heard a lot of words there that remind me of a long trail here. I was fortunate enough to be involved with Mobilization for Youth, working with Kenneth Clark back in 1964 as a rather young PhD, where the term maximum feasible participation entered the language, and of course got beat up over all the years. Never knowing that I'd end up out here on the West Coast working back in the last energy